Naofumi Iwatani wakes in a castle storeroom. Despite the less-than-ideal sleeping conditions, he's found rest. Reflecting on his situation, he remembers how he was transported to this world filled with monsters after reading a book called The Records of the Four Holy Weapons. As the shield hero, he wasn't given offensive capabilities like the others but focused on defense. Early on, Naofumi was framed and falsely accused, leaving him with a tainted reputation that forced him to fend for himself. In this world of Melremark, where society included demi-humans such as his steadfast companion Raphtalia, he faced ridicule and distrust. He reminisces about Raphtalia, the demi-human slave he bought for survival and companionship. Raphtalia grew and leveled up at an extraordinary pace during their journey together. Over time, Raphtalia became more than just a companion, she was a trusted friend, especially during the trials they faced. As morning arrives, Raphtalia awakens. Naofumi notices her beauty is accentuated by the maturity she gained from leveling up. Yet, she still maintains the kind and supportive demeanor that draws Naofumi closer. Their adventure has strained trust among the other heroes. At an audience chamber meeting, they are to be compensated with silver for their efforts. However, Naofumi notices an inequity. Motoyasu, another hero, receives a larger share, 4,000 pieces, compared to the others. The inequity fuels Naofumi's disdain for Motoyasu, who was always a thorn in his side, having falsely accused him before. Motoyasu, charming and frustratingly troublesome, had complications with Naofumi. He even challenged Naofumi to a duel over Raphtalia, claiming Naofumi had treated her poorly. Naofumi, surprised by the accusation, insisted that the duel was unfair. Raphtalia had chosen of her own will to stand by Naofumi. Later, in the privacy of the tent, Raphtalia insisted on having the slavery curse reapplied to maintain their bond of trust. Naofumi was initially resistant. Still, he understood her intention, a sign of her unwavering loyalty to him. They visited the slave trader who hoped to sell Raphtalia at a steep price due to her beauty and talents nurtured under Naofumi's care. Naofumi maintained his stand that they shared a parental-like bond, touching on the realms of protectiveness, not ownership. Naofumi activated new abilities in his shield, experimenting with it by using a piece of Raphtalia's hair and even a little of her blood, evolving his equipment's capabilities. During their visit, they notice a large crate filled with eggs. This setting marks another step and opportunity in their journey as Naofumi continues navigating challenges in this alternate world, determined to clear his name and protect those he cares for. Naofumi, the shield hero, explores the market with Raphtalia. His curiosity piques at the mention of philolials, giant bird-like creatures used for riding or pulling carriages. Intrigued by their utility, Naofumi considers purchasing a monster egg. The egg price is intriguing because it's a lottery, each egg costs 100 pieces of silver, and only one is a rare dragon type. The slave trader explains the system: these giant birds are raised by monster trainers. They tend to spread the word around for free. As they deliberate, Naofumi ponders the costs associated with his party's growth. With Raphtalia's level rising, buying cheaper equipment or even another monster could be advantageous. Fully aware that monsters are a gamble, Naofumi decides on an egg purchase. He thinks the potential benefits, including a powerful ally, are worth the risk. Naofumi casually mentions that having a pet might be enjoyable too, allowing some emotion to seep into his usual calculating persona. "Are you sure you aren't trying to get a dragon egg?" the trader asks. With their exchange concluded, Naofumi hands over the silver, receiving assurances about potential outcomes. Next, Naofumi and Raphtalia head to the weapon shop. Recalling past kindnesses from the shopkeeper following a devastating wave, Naofumi ventures in to explore new equipment. The shopkeeper, grateful for his family's safety during the calamity, offers potential discounts on belongings that might fit Naofumi's needs. However, Naofumi is hesitant to overspend, reflecting on the necessity of their newfound resources. With new materials acquired, Naofumi also recalls a small debt of gratitude to the local magic shop. The shop owner, recognizing the shield hero, grants him books containing early-stage spells. Yet these tomes are imposing due to their language, beyond Naofumi's current abilities. While Raphtalia's determination buoys him, the task feels daunting. Nevertheless, they commit to learning together, as every advantage will be vital for their preparedness against the encroaching calamity. Later, Naofumi reviews his ever-evolving shield. Each battle and harvested material unlocks unique forms and abilities. Practicing combinations inspires new avenues for growth, reinforcing that versatile defenses will become powerful assets against future threats. Traversing the ravaged fields of Ryuyute, they encounter a scattered carcass of a defeated chimera. Engaged in the alchemic process Naofumi discovers, using spoils from the fallen beast augments his shield anew, Chimera Viper Shield, conditions met. His decisions always multifaceted, Naofumi considers the needs of both survival and community rebuilding. He ensures villagers receive leftover components to create tools or trade for funds. These moments solidify his bond with those he protects, gradually shifting from a focus on individual vendettas to collaborative resilience. Settling in for the night, Naofumi can't rid himself of language barriers. Struggling with arcane syllables, he embraces the challenge by simulating dialogue techniques employing his own language principles. Once more, his deliberate actions and preparation showcase the lengths to which he is willing to go for mastery and revenge against all that is wrong within this world. Thus, Naofumi continues constructing a stronger future, one patient decision at a time. The afternoon sun casts warm rays over the small village as Naofumi Iwatani, the shield hero, awakens to another day. After a busy night crafting medicines, Naofumi is eager to resume his journey. Nearby, Raphtalia, his loyal companion, can be seen holding a magic book and murmuring to herself, clearly determined in her studies from the previous night. As Naofumi prepares to set off, he notices a peculiar sight. Something soft, like feathers or fur, peeks out from a nearby cracked egg. Intrigued, he approaches to find out what's hatching. As the shell splits open, a fluffy creature emerges, part chick, part monster, with eyes full of life. Naofumi observes, it looks like a bird, but is it a philolial? The creature chirps and leaps to Naofumi's face, bouncing and tumbling, yet full of energy and life. Relieved by its friendliness, Naofumi holds it up with curiosity and unfamiliar responsibility. What is this monster called? He wonders aloud, thinking it could be a piku since its features are reminiscent of one he'd heard about. As the bird settles calmly on his shoulder, Naofumi muses over the bond formed during its first moments of consciousness. It's apparent the bird thinks of Naofumi as a parent. He reflects on being imprinted upon by the creature and embraces the new role in its life. Guess that makes two of us learning new things today, he humorously ponders. Deciding on a change of scenery, Naofumi and Raphtalia, accompanied by their new little friend, set out on a journey to the nearby village. Along the way, villagers warmly greet them, showing gratitude for previous protection they've received from the shield hero. The bird surprises the villagers with its enthusiastic cheep. Echoing their greeting, an unanticipated form of acknowledgement from such a little creature. Curious about their new companion, the villagers suggest that it resembles a philolial, those large birds known for pulling carriages. This assumption piques Naofumi's interest, as philolials are valuable and having one could become a beneficial investment. Seeking answers, he heads towards a local ranch for confirmation regarding his new charge. Upon arrival, with Philo contently cheeping from her perch, the rancher confirms that Philo is indeed like a baby philolial, which are relatively common and known for significant growth. Delighted by his luck, Naofumi reflects on the 100 silver pieces it cost, considering it well invested. Feeding the tiny creature becomes the next priority. Philo, full of energy, demands cooked beans mashed into a puree for sustenance, a diet the rancher recommends. With Philo, now named, soundly fed and content, the trio pauses for reflection. Philo, she's quite the handful, says Naofumi with a soft smile, admiration clear in his voice. No sooner have the words left his mouth than she begins chattering anew, her noise reverberating as they prepare meals and final provisions. Their journey's peaceful air is soon disrupted by an unexpected threat, a giant swamp creature called a big frog. Naofumi jumps into action instinctively, locking eyes with Raphtalia as they ready themselves for another battle. Attack! She calls, invigorated, even as he recalls their careful plans. But plans must adapt, Naofumi muses, especially in the face of hungry monsters. With synchronized strikes, Raphtalia lunges in under Naofumi's protection, cutting the big frog down with skill honed from previous skirmishes. As the dust settles post-battle, both gain experience with heartfelt commitment, bolstering their skills further for the arduous road ahead. Throughout the challenges, Philo, too, seems to grow both in spirit and size, responding keenly to her surroundings, natural inclinations of a creature attuned to its master. Grateful but weary, Naofumi expresses his cautious optimism, if only we could all learn as quickly as you, Philo. By evening, Philo has matured even more, and her status astonishingly reads level 12, growing exponentially fast for a Philolial, despite not participating in every battle herself. Enamored with her quick development, Naofumi recalls his own tedious growth process, pondering the aids he uses, including adjustment abilities his shield holds. The innkeeper marvels at Philo's growth and insists that monster feeds contribute sapping nutrients at record speed. But reports from others can't explain Philo's remarkable progress, a phenomenon beyond typical mean comprehension. Nearby, others mention her as a wonder, even cautioning that incautious understanding could lead to zealous interest. Naofumi chuckles knowingly, it's wise to be wary of intrigues that would profit off such alluring mysteries. As the sun dips beneath the horizon, Raphtalia continues with her own growth, the impressive maturity gained under Naofumi's mentorship bringing them further than he'd imagined initially, plus, seeing her satiated strengthens resolve. We'll stay until we're all ready, he promises softly to his own reflection, hoping equally for a brighter future. As night falls over the steady slumber of the newly arrived birds echoing dreams of peaceful roads aplenty, Naofumi reads until sleep claims weary lids. His world may be confined to conditions of survival, but steadfast knowledge grows stronger bonds, a living testament to hope unfurled within friendship tethered by unwavering belief against tempestuous odds. As the dust settles from a recent battle, Motoyasu and someone derisively called Bitch arrive on a carriage, rudely demanding Naofumi's attention. They assert that Motoyasu has been granted governorship due to his apparent victories, causing a stir among the villagers who remain skeptical of such a sudden leadership change. Motoyasu aims to impose a tax on the villagers to fund unspecified projects, a burden that angers the community. Naofumi intervenes, challenging the decision, but his protests are met with hostility. If we do not rebuild, the previous governor may consider himself relieved of duty by the authority of the crown, Bitch warns menacingly, barely hiding her disdain. Suddenly, a new turn of events spirals as a group of mysterious figures dressed in black, assumed to be ninjas, delivers an enigmatic message to Mine, known to Naofumi as Bitch. The message demands a dragon race to determine who genuinely controls the village. It's a bizarre proposal, yet Motoyasu and his knights seem disconcertingly eager to comply. Naofumi is left with few options and reluctantly agrees. To his surprise, Philo, his Philolial companion, is confidently put forth by Mine as Naofumi's racer. Despite the unusual circumstances, Naofumi sees potential in Philo, nervously deciding to participate. The race begins with Naofumi mounted atop Philo, finding an unexpected joy and lightheartedness amid the absurdity as they race head-to-head with Motoyasu. Despite Philo's initial lead, the situation becomes dire when Motoyasu starts benefiting from unscrupulous magic, quickening his dragon. With the possibility of losing, Naofumi rallies, drawing upon tactics from turn-based racing games to help them regain the lead. Suddenly, the crowd erupts with energy as Philo attacks Motoyasu's sorcerer, putting an end to the unfair play and securing their victory. The knights cannot save face, exposed for their magical interference. Motoyasu's allies must acknowledge their defeat, reluctantly surrendering control back to Naofumi. With victory declared, the villagers surprise Naofumi with an offer to support his traveling endeavors, recognizing his honest intentions and valuing his contributions. Though initially hesitant, Naofumi accepts the villagers' proposal to sell materials and medicines on their behalf. In return, they assist him with paperwork enabling smoother passage between regions. A sudden bout of motion sickness overtakes Raphtalia during a carriage ride with Philo. Naofumi recalls childhood memories, feeling a rare moment of calm, even loneliness, when Raphtalia cannot stand alongside him in good health. Seeking refuge and recovery for Raphtalia, they stumble upon a kindly woodsman who offers shelter. This moment of respite allows Naofumi to reflect on the recent successes and the intricacies of his travel arrangements amid the chaotic environment they're navigating. With determination, Naofumi continues mentoring Philo, who reveals surprising strength and agility. As Philo matures rapidly, she eagerly jumps into action, showcasing her newfound capabilities. Meanwhile, Naofumi takes advantage of this training to cumulatively unlock new potential within his shield's abilities, seeking a way to elevate their effectiveness in future confrontations. Despite the relentless struggles and unexpected encounters, the events bind Naofumi and his companions closer, carving out a small sanctuary of trust and loyalty amidst the swirling uncertainties of their world. Naofumi stands surrounded by the serene scenery as Philo, bursting with excitement, waits nearby alongside Raphtalia. They're about to head toward Castle Town, anticipating a calm journey. As the trio prepares to leave, Naofumi suddenly notices that Philo, their cherished filial friend, has transformed into a much larger, more imposing creature than any he's ever seen before. This unexpected change leaves everyone in a mix of shock and concern as they attempt to comprehend what exactly happened. Raphtalia, always a voice of reason, plays down Naofumi's initial worry, reminding him that he possesses the slave user shield. She muses, wouldn't that shield have helped her grow this much? Naofumi nods, considering her words, but nevertheless feels uneasy about the sudden change. Soon, their conversation shifts as Philo's inexplicable appetite comes into sharp focus. The once seemingly endless supply of food they had, a whole wagon full in fact, has somehow disappeared overnight. She's been eating it the whole time. Raphtalia realizes with her eyes wide, and Philo simply giggles, unbothered by their bewilderment. Unable to uncover more answers on their own, the group travels to meet the slave trader as planned, hoping he might provide insight. The slave trader's tent stands there, slightly ominous yet oddly inviting. Inside, the slave trader rifles through documents, reading closely before confirming that yes, indeed, Philo was originally a filial. But this revelation fills Naofumi with more questions than answers. Could it be part of the leveling system, or something entirely beyond his understanding? As further investigation continues, Philo startles everyone by letting out a sharp gway, and in the blink of an eye, she morphs into something that looks like a strange mix between human and monster. Her transformation seems beyond anything Naofumi could predict or control. Raphtalia and Naofumi exchange worried glances, uncertain yet intrigued by what's unfolding. Venturing into the inviting town streets, they hardly have a moment to digest these peculiar happenings before they're approached by a familiar voice. It's the slave trader again, requesting to examine Philo more closely. When Philo transforms once more under intense focus, both Raphtalia and Naofumi are left speechless, struggling to process her new, even smaller form, a young girl with wings, blue eyes, and an unstoppable curious nature. Back at the weapon shop, Naofumi attempts to gather his thoughts to sort through how Philo rapidly switched forms. The shopkeeper chuckles, noticing Naofumi's lost expression, and warmly offers them a pot of soup to soothe their nerves. Philo's insistent hunger leads her to devour the soup with childlike enthusiasm, and Naofumi feels a burgeoning parental bond tug at his heart, although admitting only to himself, could it be that I must now care for this spirited life in new unimaginable ways? Settling into their temporary abode for the night, Naofumi is confronted with the daunting weight of this day. Yet, there remains a lingering lightness, like the air burgeoning with anticipation, Philo's transformation suggesting potential undiscovered powers which might tip the scales in their favor. Raphtalia watches attentively over them both, pledging with determined eyes to stand by Naofumi's side in confronting whatever comes next. Eventually, morning light seeps through their window, greeting them with calm before Naofumi urgently decides to return to the slave trader for more definitive answers. The interaction is urgent, hinged on extracting that nugget of wisdom to shed light on Philo's mysterious metamorphoses. Coined a filial queen within hushed discussions, Naofumi pauses on this notion, grappling with its implications. Yet before parting ways, a childish bicker arises between Raphtalia and Philo, both craving Naofumi's attention, a surprising semblance of domestic life creeping into their adventures. his left juggling emotional symphony beneath this curious group dynamic that persists amid knowing Philo harbors more depth, potentially aligning towards formidable allyship upon true mastery. My monster shall grow, Naofumi asserts inwardly, grasping at tendrils of hope, each wary glance exchanged underscoring the necessity for steadfast resolve amidst ever-shifting tides. Hours pass, though the certainty gleamed through Philo's eyes hints not merely at tactical prowess but family forged against arduous realms curated against doubt. Herein the powerful intricacies intertwined amid tapestry untold and awaiting the daring to unveil. Raphtalia and Philo are in a tense situation in the slave trader's room. Raphtalia holds Philo's wing, while Philo is frightened about staying. The slave trader insists, just stay still for a minute, okay, Philo, as he prepares a magic square. Philo resists but eventually surrenders, the slave trader etching a control spell into her chest, calming her down. Naofumi watches this process, feeling guilt over his actions as the magic, which feels oppressive and wrong, takes hold. Philo, for her part, reluctantly transforms into a human after understanding the necessity of the control. Naofumi wrestles with his emotions, particularly as Philo, now vulnerable, asks for something to eat, transitioning from a bird to human under the spell's force. Once Philo stabilizes, the slave trader extorts Naofumi for the additional cost of stronger magic. Naofumi grudgingly agrees, exasperated by the situation. Philo hugs Naofumi, pleading not to be hated, while Raphtalia and Naofumi struggle with their feelings of complicity. Ayah! Begins the familiar ring of Naofumi's conscience, reminding him of necessary yet unsavory decisions. They leave, task confronted but unfinished in emotional turmoil, heading to a weapon shop. They find sanctuary in routine as Naofumi's exhausted thoughts wander, and Raphtalia looks to him for reassurance. Arriving at the weapon shop, Naofumi meets the owner who quickly guides them into a hidden magic room, cluttered yet comfortably familiar. They explore possible solutions to Philo's clothing dilemmas during her transformations, Philo amusingly whining as a magic loom explores her magical essence, working relentlessly to weave enchanted clothing. They encounter a setback with a jewel breaking, essential for the enchantment, prompting a collaborative moment to solve a newly emerged quest. The enchanted tweak utilizes a rare gem, located only through local legends. The group decisively embarks on a compelling miniature journey, emphasizing problem-solving amid adventure. Naofumi, directed by practiced teamwork, resolves to search a cave for this vital component. Inside ominous pathways, they skillfully navigate threatening environments until stumbling upon a foreboding treasure chest set amidst intricate symbols. The unusual script invokes caution, revealing latent threats. Amid contemplation, suspended reality briefly droops as mysterious whispers disrupt deliberation. Raphtalia, Naofumi's skilled ally, signifies tactical focus when monstrous growls echo. Apparitions of a large beast, an evasive new, screech, honing on their group. The underground confines heighten the threat with claustrophobic tension. As the danger manifests, the team's dynamic pulses alive, aiding grapple surfacing, punctuated when Philo and Raphtalia orchestrate a courageous yet hasty counterstrike against the looming creature. Combat erupts, a flurry of chaotic exchanges marked by the raw instinct and survival. Naofumi marshals the group effectively, transitioning between offensive maneuvers as his voice Jengar shield parries attacks. The concatenate rally acts on precise situational needs, energetic yet curated amid technical novelties like destructive sonic floods rupturing the creature's defense as Philo defies limits in a conclusive measure, exemplifying harmonious synergy that unleashes potential threats. The decisive moment creeps after thrilling evasion offsets danger. Naofumi encourages aggressiveness, voice Jengar shield, signaling a climactic culmination as trusts interlock holistically across comrades. When Philo unleashes an overwhelming sonic force, becalming the beast, discovering openings within the embedded chaos renders the beast silent before its onrush. Ranging worlds end spectrally inside the deep, melancholic cavern certainties fence inadequacies neatly till pursuit rings epilogues to perfected liberation. Naofumi's role magnifies transactional fulcrum between characters hailing playful, random conspiring humble revelations emergent when victory nods, rhythmically incurious uncertainty before relinquishing seals of concise adorned ends. As dawn breaks, Naofumi, Raphtalia, and Philo are deeply engaged in battling a fierce foe, the New. Raphtalia, with deftness and resolve, strikes at the New's chest while Philo follows with vibrant energy, performing a move so powerful it literally rocks the battlefield. Hiya, she cries as her charged kick smashes into the creature, creating an explosion that echoes through the trees. The New, with its terrifying maw, snaps futilely at them, but the combined strength of Raphtalia and Philo cannot be contested. Naofumi, drawing on a force within him, shouts, "Zweite Fire Blast." The words are potent, and flames burst with intensity onto the New. The sense of triumph, normally sweet, is tinged with exhaustion as Naofumi reflects that the battle, while victorious, felt both too late and too hard-fought had it not been for the teamwork shown. Once the dust settles, Philo's insatiable appetite surfaces as she eyes their fallen adversary, exclaiming, "Feed me." Naofumi obliges by carving up the New, unlocking new shields with each butchered piece. Their haul, while not the most rewarding, grants some useful materials and knowledge. They decide to stock up whatever they can and move on, contemplating what could serve them best from the scavenged remains. With the day gradually winding down, the trio makes their way back to Castle Town. Naofumi, considering advice from a helpful witch, seeks out the apothecary to get treated. Their luck holds, as the apothecary prepares an array of restorative magics just strong enough to tend to their wounds. The following day, they have a jewel transformed into a practical, everyday gem, ideal for trade. As Philo busily barricades herself with Naofumi beside her, she turns a handle on a magical spindle with fervor that belies her fiery spirit. "Okay then, I'll do my best," she declares, her excitement about finished work palatable in the air. Yet, meals await, and Naofumi, honoring a promise, ensures to prepare something delicious for her and Raphtalia, bolstering their morale with good food. Naofumi, seeking magic materials for Philo, heeds to Philo's request with humor brimming, could he get a big sheet of iron for cooking? The imagery is all too cartoonish. Soon, while Raphtalia shops, Naofumi pursues Philo's requirement for clothing in human form, made difficult by his recent shortage of materials. Much contemplation is required from a visiting friend who specializes in threads for transformation. What shaped fabric may indeed suit Philo perfectly? At the tailor's shop, Naofumi and Philo encounter a girl engrossed both in creating doujinshi, a curious passion, and in clever outfitting. Weaving with focused care, they discuss Philo's night-to-day alterations needed for her unique form. Her wings tucked under her dress stirs intrigue and admiration. "Can I do while sitting?" Philo innocently questions, outlining the amusing conundrum. For any additional flourishes, the following errands preoccupy their spirited clique through diverse encounters, reveal insights of how else Philo might blend in through Naofumi's exchange at the tailor's. Tailor's back and forth chuckle by undertones, formulating how clever, tailored finishes incite vivid newly imagined pieces as per Philo's wish. When transformed, Philo's human guise will forego the colossal grandeur for discreet convenience beyond expectation. With the bustling energy finally fading, iron tinklings as preparation commence by a riverside setup of hearty repast. Skill in numerous knife flips secures a prodigious early barbecue, earning enjoyment and thanks. Food bites ensue like pure treasure. Faces beam with flavor victory in humble bounty as plates empty beneath plumes of smoke fuzzing tranquility upon impecunious idols beholding Naofumi's innately protective arts in unique arrays. The curiosity stirs Naofumi as he ponders was the hero should continue exploring his mysterious cursed shield. The menu beckons obscurely enough while examining accessible magic within uncertain conformity that sees ominous pairing and emerging nobility bears an intense reform only set in scope via technique. Philo practices implaries any shared provision by snaring teammates into appreciated bond-making opportunity before days subsequently wisdom further down adventure-trodden paths. Proceeding thereafter grimmer insights elicit caution, each wary glint epitomize obscure flair extol visually diverse veiled mysticism. Few or fewer charge models accounted acceptably affiliated by reduced engagement mid-habitual nuanced stuff warrants tried recalls. As camaraderie mounts atop magnificently acquired novelty conceptions found fashioned anew, sparking successive addictive pranks conducted through appetite-enhanced figuring sustaining faith, karma already include tests cultivating adventure as citizens cheer celebration exceedingly granted. This passage embodies telltale legacy imparted trademarks brandished. All nabbed per articulate habitual assays throughout chase discerning out wealth abounding reallocated pungshang strategies plotted overt greener focus over fresh plan-based discernment deduce whichever deity hero go rightfully deserve discern to deep conveyant qualms adore expertly hearty welcoming explore liberal escapades keeping yet redeem institutions deluge mantra spirited lifestyles. In the midst of a typical night, Philo insists on sharing a bed with Naofumi, but he draws the line, remembering the risk of her morphing back into her monster form. Philo, unfazed by Naofumi's rules, ponders a new address for him and teasingly suggests Big Sister since Raphtalia uses Mr. Naofumi. The playful banter continues with her questioning Naofumi, often slipping into conversing like a much smaller child. Naofumi remarks inwardly, "I guess she really was a little kid. And she acted like one." Even though Philo can't pull a carriage yet, she constantly seeks comparisons with Raphtalia in Naofumi's eyes. Naofumi finds amusement and a hint of satisfaction in Philo's persistence and quirks, like the way she manages inconsequential things with youthful fervor. Her exclamations about his supposed stupidity only add to the light-hearted vibe, while he reflects on the caregiver role he's taken on for both his companions. Their journey takes a turn when Naofumi, Raphtalia, and Philo encounter a distressed man hurriedly heading over the mountains. He frantically asks if there's a faster route, desperately needing medicine for his sick villagers. Naofumi generously offers Philo's carriage-pulling services in exchange for a silver piece. Rapids are not a problem for Philo, who speeds across the terrain with Naofumi and Raphtalia in tow. Their arrival at the man's house is swift, and having delivered the urgent care, they are graciously thanked for their timely intervention. Once inside the modest farmhouse, Naofumi observes the positive effects of the medicine on an elderly woman, witnessing firsthand the hero's mantle. He departs with the assurance that they can expect reasonable compensation later. The sickly surroundings and audible coughing are solitary imprints of how stark a journey through the unknown can be. As the group moves from one stop to the next, aligning themselves further into their merchant roles, they find villages have grown accustomed to seeing their unique caravan. Naofumi senses a reputation building for himself as a vendor of odd but effective remedies, an unintended consequence of their adventuring lifestyle. Alongside, he explores crafting additional potent cures from the novel recipes he is unlocking through his shield. Their nomadic path interfaces with conquered regional monsters and occasionally helps locals in distress, cementing their private business endeavors. Upon passing several notable locations, Naofumi reflects on the known exploits of the other heroes. Motoyasu has uplifted a village by unearthing a legendary crop, while Ren and Itsuki occupy themselves with relatively more combative or conspiratorial pursuits, elevating their own kinds of tales. Naofumi contemplates his growing arsenal of shield abilities, ramping up his manipulation of various elemental and compounded defenses. Each new shield and recipe confounds his expectations, often altering the construct of his current and future strategies. Though intricately aware of fillable gaps, he admits the tendency to invest too much focus on coordinating new methods, despite the practicality such nuances demand in their skirmishes. As the narrative advances, a scenario unfolds where they're recognized by a passing merchant, intrigued by their structured forms of power and illusions built around the supposed legitimacy and perceived brilliance over their medicinal impact. Naofumi skillfully manipulates this with nonchalant exposure, half expecting that revelations may disarm potentially questionable nobility and avoid added attention. While negotiating with an accessories merchant, Naofumi gains understanding about dual-embedded armaments offering personalized battle enhancements. Their conversation soon interrupts as an approaching distress call reveals bandits drawing near. Heading outdoors with the merchant and drawing closer to confrontation, Naofumi briskly commands Raphtalia and Philo to prepare for combat. Needing to ensure everyone's safety, his strategy develops rapidly in the face of significant numbers sheathing visible weapons. Airstrike shield! Naofumi proclaims, setting the stage for an impending clash, balancing determined defense with the care he's assigned to those relying on him, the traveling merchant team solid and unfazed as potential threats loom imminent. Naofumi finds himself under attack from a group of bandits. With his shield skill Change Shield, he morphs it into the Bee Needle Shield, which has a paralyzing effect that incapacitates some attackers. However, the real action begins when Naofumi calls forth the Viper Shield. This shield launches a snake that bites the attackers, poisoning them. Raphtalia and Philo jump into action. Raphtalia, slicing through the bandits, surprises them with her strength. Philo speeds through, taking them down with powerful kicks. With each attack, the bandits become more aware that they're fighting the infamous Shield Hero. Suddenly, more bandits appear, led by a formidable warrior characterizing himself as part of the Shield Hero hunting crew. Naofumi watches as the sword glances off Raphtalia, revealing her ability and determination. Meanwhile, Philo demonstrates her prowess by using a fast tornado spell, scattering bandits and causing chaos. In a confrontation with the leader who threatens to harm Raphtalia, Philo surprises Naofumi with a swift attack that manages to disable him. The onslaught is diffused, and Naofumi reflects on methods to imprison the bandit without him escaping, considering the shield prison technique. Raphtalia displays her growing talent with the Hide Mirage skill, confusing their attackers. The bandits, realizing defeat, decide to flee, leaving their leader behind to meet his end. Naofumi captures the bandits using shield prison and, after an insightful exchange about the situation, ties them up for delivery to the authorities. Discussing rewards, Naofumi discovers that aiding in delivering the bandits might not yield much gain from the police. The accessory dealer, witnessing Naofumi's decisive methods, reflects on the incident, hinting at a revelation regarding their supposed collaborative roles. The journey continues, and despite initially wanting to leave, the accessory dealer now insists on joining Naofumi's party, which he claims he owes for his life. Eventually, the dealer starts giving Naofumi lectures. Learning about crafting materials and imbuing objects with magic becomes quite enlightening for Naofumi, who delves into studying a book given by the merchant. In time, Naofumi makes an attempt to craft using magic and succeeds. This effort enriches his abilities and knowledge significantly. Now able to create magical jewels, he tests his skills in a mine with Philo and Raphtalia after meeting a miner who agrees to allow Naofumi to keep his finds. Inside the cave, Naofumi uses his collection skill to gather ore, finding quality materials that he decides to test by crafting a ruby bracelet. Despite its reduced quality, it serves as an important symbol of his crafting progress. Finally, the party travels, newly equipped with various protective and offensive shields, which each offer unique abilities. One morning, achieving a significant milestone, they hear of a location that desperately needs plant disposal aid, prompting them to head there swiftly. The chance to make money and apply their newly honed skills is too enticing to pass up. As the story unfolds, Naofumi Iwatani, accompanied by Raphtalia and Philo, finds themselves in a village engulfed by chaos. They notice the land completely overrun with massive, twisting vines. Upon arriving, Naofumi learns that what appeared to be a miraculous seed had solved the village's famine. However, things quickly spiraled out of control as these liberating vines began to turn into monsters, devouring crops and invading homes. The villagers, desperate for help, explain that upon planting the seed brought by the spear hero, the fields overflowed with different fruits and vegetables. Initially deemed a blessing, the vine soon turned into a living nightmare as they became aggressive and parasitic. With the seal broken, extermination seemed mandatory. Naofumi acknowledges that tackling these monstrous plants is necessary and reasons why the villagers sought his help earlier. Recognizing their dire need, he considers using Weed Killer, knowing a direct assault might exacerbate the situation. He acknowledges the villagers' pleas and steps up to assist. In a tent on the village's outskirts, Naofumi tends to afflicted villagers who are entangled by the monstrous vines. He utilizes restorative medicine to alleviate their burdens. His interventions are well received, and the thankful villagers scramble to compensate him. However, complexities unfold, prompting Naofumi, Raphtalia, and Philo to continue deeper into the vine-infested lands for a more comprehensive solution. Resistance against the bioplant and mandragora creatures becomes a necessity. Naofumi's shield provides crucial protection as Raphtalia and Philo battle aggressively animated vines. The creatures, derived from an apparent source of overwhelming strength, persistently attack, their presence growing more daunting. Despite their struggles, the triad finds a way to punch through the chaos. The group stumbles upon the center of this vegetative apocalypse, discovering a giant eye, which seems integral to their misfortunes. Philo, showing fierce determination, launches herself toward the monstrous organ, unleashing a flurry of powerful strikes. Though initially resilient, the eye eventually succumbs to the group's combined efforts. Defeating the central vine eyes results in a significant change. The expansive growth ceases, and the uncontrolled vines wither and break apart. Upon success, Naofumi collects samples, allowing his shield to assimilate new abilities from the remains of the bioplant and other related creatures. An intriguing interlude follows as the power of plant reform becomes apparent. Naofumi experiments, adjusting the attributes and capabilities of a standalone seed. Adjustments coalesce into clear attributes like propagation and growth, hinting at further enhancements his shield might unveil. Returning to the villagers, Naofumi demonstrates the progress made through harnessed bioplant abilities. Though villagers observe these deeds with awe, Naofumi's ongoing ability to cultivate unique plants under controlled conditions signifies great promise. The chapter showcases Naofumi pondering the balance between helping villages in peril and managing the broader consequences of enhanced plant seeds developed using his shield's prowess. Recognizing the potential and threat, he tactfully aids the village in returning normalcy, albeit with some caution toward future developments. Eventually, Naofumi decides it's time to explore new horizons. As they pack their belongings, Naofumi reflects on the potential broader utility of the weaponized weed killer. Leaving the village with newly refined cartloads of produce, Raphtalia, Philo, and Naofumi head toward future adventures, buoyed by their victories and experiences. Naofumi, Raphtalia, and Philo find themselves preparing for a night under the stars along their journey. With rumors of an epidemic in the land, they decide to venture south to gather additional provisions. Philo, with her insatiable appetite, pulls the cart tirelessly despite its heavy load, managing to acquire meals with her impressive strength. During their travels, Naofumi contemplates improving the carts by replacing wooden parts with metal ones, pondering the costs involved. Philo has finally overcome her motion sickness, but her swift pace causes the passengers to feel queasy. Naofumi considers installing springs to combat this problem. After exploring a bustling city who finds an extraordinary weapon shop, Naofumi realizes he hasn't encountered its equal elsewhere. Raphtalia and Philo, however, remain unenthused, focused instead on their proximity to him. As they settle in for the night's rest, a brief misunderstanding about sleeping arrangements ensues, capturing the banter among the trio. Naofumi reflects on his companions as Raphtalia suddenly poses a heart-searching question, "Mr. Naofumi, do you think of me?" This catches him off guard, stirring memories tinged with bitterness. Yet, Raphtalia clarifies her intent, expressing how she views him as someone who helped shape her growth. As Naofumi returns to his routine of crafting medicine, a sense of weariness weighs him down. The battles they face are relentless but necessary for survival. Even as Raphtalia's strength has outpaced Naofumi's, she and Philo cling to his leadership, finding security in the camaraderie between them. Through their dialogue, Raphtalia brings to light Naofumi's impact on their lives, showing a glimpse of vulnerability. Her words resound deeply, "I feel like I work too hard. That I push you too hard for a slave." Despite Naofumi's initial dismay at her admission, her sincerity leads him to reconsider his view on leadership and responsibility. The narrative shifts as the group approaches a disease-stricken village. The air feels heavy, almost foreboding, with weather reflecting the villagers' despair. Rumored to be a disease carried by the wind from the mountains, Naofumi arms himself as they approach the masked villagers, alert to any threats. Despite limitations, his creations bring relief to the sick, who express profound gratitude. A local doctor corroborates the origin of their plight, a dragon's remains, having poisoned the land from high above. Naofumi contemplates rectifying this issue, a decision spurred by learning of Ren and the other heroes' negligence after slaying the creature. Feeling underestimated by the other hero's apathy, Naofumi resolves to tackle the matter personally. Slogging through hazardous terrain and battling potent monsters, Naofumi absorbs various shield abilities, bolstering his capacity to endure poisons with his defensive gear. Despite exhaustion permeating his group, they gather themselves and continue toward the dragon's corpse, essential to quelling the disease ravaging the land. Upon reaching their destination, the putrid stench and decrepit condition of the carcass confirm its culpability. Yet, amidst managing the remains, they are startled by a terrifying revelation: the dragon revives into a zombie dragon. Driven by desperation and valor, they confront the resurrected beast amid pounding hearts and flaring ties of loyalty. The zombie dragon's ghastly regeneration strains their endurance, with barrel rolls of pungent sludge complicating the battle further. Naofumi, seizing past experiences gained from observing Ren battle dragons, directs targeted attacks while Raphtalia and Philo navigate the beast's monstrous form. It's now or never, their teamwork must prevail to prevent potential disaster. United, their synchronized strength charges into a final, decisive engagement with the dragon, clutching slender threads of hope in a tangled conflict. In the midst of an intense battle, Naofumi finds himself trying to defend against a menacing Chimera Viper shield. As a purple gas emerges from the creature, Naofumi, driven by the threat before him, tries to shield his companions, Raphtalia and Philo, from harm. Raphtalia remains by Naofumi's side but soon starts coughing violently, indicating the seriousness of the situation. Her breath becomes erratic as the poison takes hold. Naofumi urges Raphtalia to retreat to the carriage for safety, but she insists on staying despite her evident struggle. The situation escalates when Philo, unbothered by the poison, stands her ground fearlessly, but the danger remains pressing, with a massive wound gaping open in the dragon's chest, reminding Naofumi of the threat looming over them. In the thick of the fight, Naofumi reflects on Philo's innocence and determination, realizing she only wants to stay with him, to be of use. This realization stirs something deep within him. Conflicted, he grapples with feelings of powerlessness, and in those moments, memories flood his mind. As Raphtalia regains enough composure to slap him back to his senses, Naofumi is reminded of his purpose and his vow to protect. A voice resonates from his shield, tempting him with power, a power he has not fully understood or explored yet. Anguish grips him, but a desire to respond and protect overwhelms him. Suddenly, a new shield mode unlocks, the Shield of Rage. This dark, emotional enhancement offers immense power, emboldening Naofumi to face the threat. But as he accepts it, he realizes the depth of emotion driving the transformation. Clouds of darkness and a fiery blaze encircle him, driven by anger. As the zombie dragon attacks, the shield roars back. Despite the beast's size, Naofumi hurls part of the shadow away, realizing just how much power he holds. Still, the confrontation escalates, with the dragon relentless in its assault. Taking drastic measures, Naofumi unleashes another mode, Iron Maiden. His shield blazes with fiery energy, but the task is far from complete, as he struggles to keep anger under control. Suddenly, a calm voice reaches through the fury. Raphtalia's presence anchors him back from the brink, reminding him that all is not lost. Raphtalia's state brings him back to reality. In this moment, Naofumi acts with urgency, using heal spells repeatedly to restore her battered strength. Despite their desperate situation, he perseveres until nearly all his mana is depleted. Philo remains undeterred, yet as Naofumi rushes to find healing ointments for Raphtalia, the dragon remains a fierce threat, its poison breath a constant danger. Using his shield, Naofumi absorbs and deflects the dragon's attacks, holding the line desperately. In the aftermath, Raphtalia regains consciousness though her wounds endure. Naofumi's healing efforts, reinforced by an impromptu concoction, bring partial but crucial relief. His determination to protect his companions remains his strongest motivation. Amid the advent of new feelings and revelations, Naofumi's connection with Raphtalia and Philo deepens. Even as the battle subsides, the revelations continue. Conversations unveil breakthroughs about leadership and resilience, with Raphtalia affirming her belief in Naofumi. Together, they push forward into a brighter, more hopeful future. Their commitment to growth and unity marks the start of a stronger bond. Each moment of doubt, grievance, or challenge faced brings them one step closer to becoming a cohesive unit. Back at the village, Raphtalia's resilience and determination shine as Naofumi embraces this newfound strength. Encouraged by each other, they understand that supporting one another makes them unbreakable. With heartfelt determination, they promise to protect the happiness they fought so hard to secure. Naofumi contemplates his journey and realizes the significant progress they have made together. It's clear now, the trust, protection, and shared resolve between him, Raphtalia, and Philo are the true forces driving them forward. With this newfound understanding, they resolve to continue their quest, no longer just surviving, but thriving. In the tranquil embrace of a moment shared between Naofumi and Raphtalia, they recognize the strength that's developed within their partnership. Raphtalia is keenly aware of her growth, not just in terms of skills, but in her maturity and thoughts. Naofumi acknowledges this too, realizing, I couldn't treat her like a child anymore. The acknowledgement is mutual, as they both commit to journeying through their trials together. In a special moment of respite, Naofumi, Raphtalia, and Philo embark on a short trip to a hot spring. This journey marks a rare opportunity for relaxation. Naofumi, typically preoccupied with mixing medicines, agrees with Philo's suggestion for a break, despite the lingering smell of sulfur from the springs. Together, they see the potential for healing the relentless stress they've endured. Philo and Raphtalia find amusement in their long-awaited leisure, giggling over their attempts to coax Naofumi into a lighter mood. As they soak in the warmth of the hot spring, Philo speaks playfully, illustrating the ease they've found in each other's company. Amid the comfort, Raphtalia takes a moment to reflect, feeling a mix of vulnerability and confidence about herself and her scars. Naofumi, noticing the scars, applies medicine with a gentle touch. This gesture strikes a personal chord with Raphtalia. Her emotions brim, and she tentatively steps towards a profound confession. But Naofumi's perspective reveals something else. He expresses a paternal fondness, saying, I like you too. Like a daughter, which cools the warmth of Raphtalia's bold confession, leaving her at a loss. With heart still fluttering from Naofumi's light rejection, Raphtalia resolves to express her feelings in a manner Naofumi might finally recognize. She ventures into town with a determined spark, on a quest to find a rare item that would symbolize her feeling's sincerity. Information leads her to seek out a rare mineral called lakium, rumored to enhance feelings of love. As she ponders its significance, Raphtalia realizes this may be her key to Naofumi's acknowledgement. Unexpectedly, Raphtalia isn't alone in her quest. She encounters Philo, just as eager to impress Naofumi. Philo, enthusiastic with typical childlike innocence, and Raphtalia, driven with a steadfast desire, soon find themselves in friendly competition, determined to provide Naofumi with the best gift. The daring pursuit mounts as they race into the nest of a gagoko, a large bird-like creature, striving for lakium. Amidst the reckless chaos, they trigger the attention of a massive silver razorback and are swept into a heart-pounding debacle with the creature. In the heat of this adventure, their courageous spirits merge. Together they face the beast. It's in these challenging moments that Naofumi's combat instincts shine. Earning a shared resolve, he strategizes with precision as Philo and Raphtalia's combined resolve supports his strategy. After perilous encounters in the mountains without much success in securing the lakium, they manage to retrieve the rare, albeit valuable silver razorback. The villagers marvel at the creature, and Naofumi exchanges it, generously doubling their coffers. Though prosperous, Raphtalia's thoughts linger on a more personal gain, the bond with Naofumi. Sharing their earnings to gift Naofumi an accessory, Raphtalia hopes to reach his heart. Despite the simplicity of their gift, Naofumi's typical nonchalance resonates through a light-hearted response, and he affectionately pats both Raphtalia and Philo on the head, appreciating their sentiment. In the comforting junction of this narrative's conclusion, Raphtalia stands with courage reaffirmed and Philo by her side, both sharing a moment of solidarity. "We'll get him to see us for who we are," she declares inwardly. Together, they march forward, shaped by adventures past and dreams ahead, in relentless pursuit of acknowledgement from the one they have come to adore and follow.